Welcome back to the channel. Today we're joined by a very special guest, Marc Pugh, of course, AFC Bournemouth legend. How are you doing, mate?
I'm really well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. We'll just jump right into it. A little interview of you. And the first question is a bit of a random one, because last night I was scrolling and I saw that you commented on Eze's post, and I was like, that's a bit random. And then I realized you played with him at QPR. Did you always see this potential of him becoming like such a really rising star?
Yeah, instantly after the first couple of training sessions, he was so elegant on the ball. He had a burst of pace, received the ball well, really intelligent footballer. And funnily enough, I mentioned to Eddie while I was at Bournemouth at the time, I said, "Oh, you need to sign this kid. He's absolutely quality." But that never materialised. But no, he's a great lad. Has a big faith as well, and he's just one of these lads that no matter how successful he does become, obviously he's had some success already, but I believe he can play at the highest level of international football for sure. And I know he's not had many caps for England now, but I see him getting a lot more in the future because yeah, he's some talent.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, England is a very stacked attacking squad, but I could 100% see him going there, getting a call up in the future, perhaps after these Euros. But let's talk about your career. And you mentioned on your Instagram that before you'd been signed for FC Bournemouth, you'd been released twice. You've been told on numerous occasions that you weren't good enough to make it as a professional footballer. How did this sort of affect your mental health at the time?
I was really open, especially when I got released from Burnley. Don't get me wrong, a Burnley fan, really down, disheartened for 3 or 4 days. But then again, I began to speak to people, make connections. Obviously, you can't get too downhearted. I think you've got to really work on your mental health daily, and it doesn't come natural. It's really important that you keep setting yourself goals, keep setting yourself targets to at the end of the day, I wanted to be a professional footballer more than anything. So I wanted to make that happen by working hard, believing in myself, and surrounding myself with positive people as well. Yeah, because I'm not going to lie, it was tough. But after I got released, about a week, 2 weeks later, I got a trial at Bury and ended up playing the following season, 43 games in League Two at the time, and it toughened me up. I like to call it character building. So the setbacks you have in life, they do set you up for a comeback. And if you can deal with the setbacks well, and obviously show that faith, show that belief, and have a good character, then it really does stand you in good stead. And I think with the amount of setbacks you do suffer in football, you've really got to have a bulletproof mindset. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Is the mental game sort of something you focus on with the young players that you're working with in your new career, or is it more sort of health and fitness?
Yeah, it's a bit of everything. I mean, mindset's everything. If you've got a strong mindset, then you're going to take your nutrition seriously. You're going to sleep well. You're going to have a good routine. Your daily habits become so important. So I've played with a lot of players over the years who were incredible in training, but they just couldn't do it on a match day in front of fans. So your mindset is so powerful, and you can create your reality with your mindset as well. Obviously, painting pictures in your mind, visualization. Obviously, you've got to put the work in and tick as many boxes as possible to improve the small percentages in your daily life. But yeah, I believe the mindset's so powerful and it cannot be overlooked.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, you mentioned Eddie earlier, actually, and I'm going to ask you a question on him. I'm sure you've probably been asked loads about him, but he was obviously in charge in League One for Bournemouth, and you played for him in the League One. Other players like Charlie Daniels, many others, and he took you to the levels in the Premier League. Like, you were one of the most exciting attacking players in the Premier League. Like, what do you put that down as what stands out to you about him that's managed to really turn that group from League One quality to Premier League?
Just his love of the game and his willingness to want to improve not only himself but all his players as well. He works tirelessly to improve himself. He'd be first in the door every day. He'd be in at 5:45, might even have been earlier, to be honest. And he'd be prepping for the session. He'd be watching clips back. He'd put a lot of work in before you go out onto the training field at 11 o'clock. And then obviously afterwards as well, he'd be focusing on, watching the video back from training where the lads can improve. Really articulate, and his attention to detail is next level. He not only wants success for himself, he wants success for everyone around him as well, staff members, players, fans. And to top it all off as well, he's just a great human. He cares about his players off the field, and he had a big impact in my life. And when he went away to Burnley and came back, I think we were sat 19th in the league at the time in League One, and we went on a 20-plus unbeaten record and got promoted that season, and then just kept progressing, kept working hard as a team, and he just pushed us daily. I think when you've got a manager who really strives to be the best, then it's infectious and the players follow suit.
Yeah, 100%. I think you speak about him being a great human, and I think we can really see that, like, as the fans, like, he made a real connection with us rather than some other managers who may prefer to, stay a little bit more private, which of course is down to your own interest. And then also you say about his attention to detail, and I listened to his podcast with Gary Neville, and he has like 15 tactic boards in his office, and I just think that's really impressive. Yeah. You loved to do a chop when you were in your playing days. At what age did you start really integrating this as your signature move?
When I was 4 or 5 years old, I went to an academy. It was called Rosendale Academy. It was local to me, and it was all technical work. It was dribbling in and out of cones, doing Cruyff turns, chops, and it became very natural to me. And obviously, in training, it's easy to do because you've no pressure on you. But then to implement it into a game and put smiles on the fans' faces, deliver excitement. It was just something I loved. And even my teammates, they used to joke, like, they knew it was coming, but they just couldn't do anything about it because, you come inside and there's a right-footed player playing on the left wing. If the defender doesn't dive in and try and block the shot, then you get a shot away. But if he does, then it's having that ability to change your mind, at the last second and chop it and then put him on his backside. So, yeah, that's something I really... You have to work on everything in life, but this came really natural to me. I was really sharp on the turn, and it was a really powerful asset of mine. And I wasn't blessed with blistering pace, so I had to beat a full back in another way. So that was my way of, getting the better of my full back.
Yeah, 100%. Was there a player that you looked up to that did this, or was this just something that came from training?
I used to watch players all the time. I mean, you look back in the day of the old school players, and Peter Beagrie had a great chop. You might be too young to remember his playing days, but there was some talented players that I used to always watch. I mean, I loved watching, the class of '92, that team with Beckham, Giggs, Scholes, Keane, Cantona. I looked up to them, and I mean, Giggs had pace, but he was just like a winger I admired with his ability and stuff. And I think it's just you've got to always add another string to your bow and work on your strengths and work even harder on your weaknesses. And the chop was definitely my strength, and I adapted it and just used it in training and then implemented it in games, and it always worked.
Yeah, 100%. As Bournemouth fans, we're not really regarded as particularly loud, or we don't really have this ultra culture. But in my opinion, what we do have is this sense of community and togetherness as a fan base, especially with the history dating back to 2009, the Great Escape, all of that. Did you feel that when you're playing at Dean Court? Do you feel there's a special sort of atmosphere within the fans?
Bolton at home, there was one of the best atmospheres I remember. So yeah, I think you were a bit harsh on yourselves there. I always loved playing in front of the fans. A really good relationship. Never had any instances where there was any falling outs or anything like that. And I think as a player as well, I think if you're putting 100%, 110% every game, then the fans are going to back you all the way, and that's what the Bournemouth fans did. I loved playing in front of them, and that's one thing I miss about not playing, just playing in front of the fans. I mean, day to day, I'm so happy at the minute with what I'm doing, but playing on a Saturday, in front of the Cherries fans and, any fans really, it was absolutely amazing, and loved the atmosphere. The build up to a match day is something that you cannot replicate.
Yeah, that's good to hear then. It was towards the end of your career, but obviously the COVID-19 pandemic led to, obviously being at home. I guess you weren't able to go into training every day, at least for the first few months of that proper lockdown. How did that, affect like your physical condition, and how did you stay in like a peak condition at home?
Just, routine and working hard. And COVID put a stop to a lot of things, to be fair, because in my contract with QPR, I had a stipulation in my contract that if I played 26 games, I would get a new contract, an extended year. And I was on 25 when COVID hit on Friday. I was due to start on the Saturday to obviously hit that clause in my contract, and I'd get another year on the same contract I was on. Anyway, we had that mini pre-season. We had to keep ourselves fit, and I found it quite easy, to be honest, because it's just routine, getting quality sleep and going out, doing your run early in the morning, and just doing the best you can, and obviously get your gym working as well. But when we went back to that mini pre-season and I felt really fit, the manager was honest and open with me and said, look, the club said they're not going to play you for that game, to make you 26 games, because we can't afford to keep you on the same contract you're on, and we've got no fans in the stadium. So that was tough to take. But then I spent a bit of time at home, and I was actually loving it. I was loving my new routine and doing something a little bit different. My weekends were a little bit freer. And the wife said to me at the time, why don't you just see how you feel, go back? So that's where I decided to go to Shrewsbury for 3 months, see if I still had the buzz for it. And obviously I was loving playing under Sam Ricketts, who was the manager at the time, really enjoying it. And then we had a change of manager, and Steve Cotterill came in, and Steve Cotterill released me as a young kid from Burnley. So that kind of put the nail in the coffin there. But everything happens for a reason, and I've loved every part of the journey so far.
Yeah, 100%. One last quick question then. Do you still watch much football, and do you watch much Bournemouth, or have you sort of moved away from all that stuff?
Oh, I absolutely love football. I obviously live for my family. I love my family life and just switching off and spending time with the kids, going on holiday, traveling. But yeah, there's nothing better than the atmosphere of a football game. I was watching the last games of the season yesterday, and saw obviously Klopp's final game as well. But yeah, I love watching Bournemouth. Love keeping track of all the clubs I played for, and they're in my heart now. I always look out for their result. It's the first result I look out for. I'm a Burnley fan. Brought up a Burnley fan, but because I'd spent so long with the football club, the fans, players, staff, I've had lifelong memories there, which I'll never forget.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's really good to hear, and I really appreciate you coming on the channel. Some great answers there, and yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day, mate.
No, it's a pleasure. Thanks for. Sorry it took so long to get back to you, but yeah,
No,
I enjoyed it. And yeah, anytime, pal, anytime.
Wow, what a pleasure. Marc Pugh on my YouTube channel. Such absolute legend, my favourite player growing up, and so many iconic moments for the Cherries. Stay tuned, it's obviously the end of the season, but we've got that interview there. We're going to be hopefully having a few interviews coming up. We've got a professional player in the Bournemouth squad coming up from the development squad. So another interview coming up there soon, and hopefully plenty more. We're going to be doing transfers talk, Euros talk, all of that good stuff across the summer. So stay tuned, and then we'll get into next season, hopefully pushing for European football with Iraola. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe down below so you see the future interviews, and up the Cherries.